Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy So and welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you're already subscribed, you know what to do next. Hit that comment button and hit that like button on our latest video. This is from our latest episode 106, which is streaming on your favorite platform right now. In this clip, Joel and I break down the Dolphins' loss on the road to the hated Jets. It's time to take a ride, y'all. Absolutely. Let's talk about it, bro. A 40-17 loss. And the score is a little bit misleading, right? Because it wasn't that much of a blowout. Those last 21 points that separated us in the fourth quarter were kind of like out of nowhere. And it was almost like we saw the wheels creaking a little bit in these first 4 or 5 weeks. And then finally the wheels came off in that fourth quarter on the defense. And it was like, all right, we got nothing else to offer here. You know, and they just ran it up, bro. Yeah,
it was two different halves. So we went into the halftime down 19-17. We almost had the lead. We had a Jason Sanders missed field goal, and that right there, you know, it cost us the lead going into the halftime. Who knows if that would have changed anything? But at the end of the day, we couldn't get anything going on offense, you know, in the second half. And like you said, they had a few plays where they were able to just kind of get down inside in the red zone and capitalize.
Absolutely.
And at the end, you know, they put up 21 unanswered on us in the second half. Yep. Most of that coming, I think, in the fourth quarter.
All of it was in the fourth.
You know, what you would call quote unquote garbage time, maybe. But
not necessarily, bro, because
it wasn't that late. I guess
because when we went into the fourth, it was like, all right, we got the ball. Let's put a drive together and let's see what we make out of it. Mm-hmm. And it's weird because the guy leading that drive is not the guy that we were expecting to play on Sunday, right? Teddy B goes down on the first play from scrimmage pretty much for us.
Bro. Wild.
Weird series of events.
He didn't look that bad when he went down.
He got hit in the elbow, right?
Well, he was out for an elbow, but I think officially he got ruled out because of the concussion.
Correct.
You know, because they're not going to just take you out of the game for an elbow injury if you're still in there willing to take snaps and able to take snaps and hand off the ball and all that. You know?
Right.
He knows the playbook better than anybody. Took all the reps these last 10 days, you know, with the ones. So we had a whole game plan. We talked about this on the show yesterday. We had a whole game plan going into it, and first play of the game, that game plan was out the window because now we had to bring in the rook. You know, which is good. We wanted to see, the rook at some point because he did so well in preseason. He was, probably the best player of the preseason, you know,
for sure.
Arguably, best quarterback. You can argue he was the best quarterback of the preseason, you know, just with his stats that he put up. But, you know, we didn't think we were going to have to see him. At least me. I was hoping not to have to see him so soon. You know what I mean? Now, Tua out. First game with Teddy B. First play, he's out. Now we see the rook. And sure enough, we end up, you know, when Murphy's Law, right? When things, what is it? What's Murphy's Law?
When things go bad, they can go really worse. But that's not the law, but that's my law.
No, fuck. What's Murphy's Law? I can't remember the exact. I'm losing it. But it's along those lines, right? It just everything goes bad. And then we lost Teron Armstead, which is our starting tackle, our star tackle that we signed in the offseason. And so now we have no quarterback. Well, we have our third string quarterback.
Right.
We're missing our starting tackle. And now we had to get creative. That's where the run game came out of, which was good the first half. But we just couldn't keep that up in the second half, man. We didn't have enough depth.
No, we didn't. And look, and even the guys who were playing weren't playing 100%. And you know what?
Right.
We can honestly say that about any football team, right? It's week 5. Football is a hard sport. There are going to be injuries. You're not going to be 100% for the entirety of the season. But, you know, we saw Jalen Waddle with an injury, kind of questionable to play in this game. Didn't really have an impact. Tyreek Hill, same thing, questionable to play this game. Ends up playing. Has an impact, but not the one that we're used to seeing, right? Another game where he leads us in receiving and attempts and all that stuff. His 5th. And I just think, like, it wasn't the offense that we got accustomed to, you know? And a lot of that has to be with Tua being out and the ability of the offense to continue to perform without him. We saw that huge drop-off, and by no means at all is this an attack on Skylar Thompson.
No.
But he's not it.
Well, not yet. I mean, he's a rookie, man.
For all intents and purposes, he's not it. He's not the guy who's supposed to come in and save us.
Right. It's Tua. This is Tua's team.
Tua, and then worst case scenario, Teddy B. And look at that. We went beyond worst case scenario. Now we're at, oh shit, things are really bad and we got no idea what to do.
Do you know who our 4th string quarterback would have been? If
Cedric Wilson, I think.
Cedric Wilson.
Yeah, bro.
our fourth string, third string receiver,
seventh string receiver. It seems like that guy hardly gets playing time.
Seems like, right, but that's our fourth QB, man. So I hope Teddy's okay. I don't know what's going on. We just got word that Tua's. There's no update yet on Tua on if he's going to play, against the Vikings this Sunday.
Right.
I'm really hoping he does, man. All the tests came back. I think I said on OnlyFans they came back positive. I meant they were positive results.
Right.
The tests came back negative. But we need our QB1 to play in order to have a chance in this game.
And look, we know he's not going to be back this week, and probably not back against the Steelers, right?
Why,
head coach
though, man? Why?
Let's hear what McDaniel had to say. He said he's not thinking about the timeline for Tua's return. He noted that Tua is not ready to return to football activity yet, and he's being evaluated every 12 to 24 hours. He's in the Dolphins team facility, hanging out with the team, doing well, but the main focus is them getting him healthy. He also went on to say that, he cares a lot about Tua. He wants Tua to be able to play his natural sport and whatnot for the entirety of his career. But they're going to take it game by game, day by day with him. And we saw the effects of this happen with Teddy B, right? Like Teddy B, we didn't see him go down. None of the cameras witnessed him going down as far as head injury goes, right? But they pulled him. He got pulled aside, put into the tent, and then concussion protocols took over. And he's still in concussion protocols.
Yeah.
So his availability for that game against the Vikings is up in the air at the moment.
I didn't see that.
It didn't crazy. Is that nobody saw it? That's the thing. Unless you were in attendance, it wasn't shown on TV.
He got
None of
to
the cameras
throw the
caught
ball. He even got to throw the ball away, and everything, which ended up that resulted in the intentional grounding.
Correct.
There was an intentional grounding that got called, and he was in the end zone throwing the ball. Intentional grounding gets called. That's an automatic safety, and then we ended up punting the ball away. But he was able to get the ball away to who I guess maybe Gesicki was in that area. Somebody, maybe Edmonds or Mostert might have been in the area, but they were blocking. They weren't even looking, and that's why they got called for the grounding in the first place. But the hit didn't look that bad, man. And Skylar Thompson, he went down. There was one time where he went down, and it took him a second to get up.
Yeah,
and
he took a hard hit.
He was taking a couple hits during that game too. So that's not what we want to see for any of our quarterbacks, bro.
Yeah, no, for sure. And the injuries are starting to pile up. And it's
early in the season too.
And it might be too early in the season, dog. You get what I'm saying? Like, we're gonna need some type of I don't know, man. But we need to get these guys healthy. Tua, most importantly. I'm not worried too much about the Vikings, and I'm not too worried about the Steelers, right? Because the Steelers look like a terrible team. The Vikings are a good team, so maybe without Tua, we don't beat them anyways, right? So not worried about that game. Yeah, it'll suck to lose 3 games in a row.
Bro.
It'll suck, but it's kind of like what Martin said on OnlyFans.
It's so deflating.
It's kind of like where you take a step back and you look at the bigger picture and you're like, all right, you know what? This is a wash. 3 games with Tua, 3 games without Tua. We obviously see that the biggest X factor here is Tua. Because even without the other injuries, if Tua plays, we have a better shot of winning the game ultimately. My main concern is what I'm seeing from this very talented defense and a defense that we were relying a lot on. The tackling has been horrendous.
Oh, I got a word for you. An SAT word. You ready?
Go ahead.
Abysmal.
Yeah, that's a good word.
That's a great word.
That's a great word.
But that's a great word to describe the defense this Sunday, especially in that second half. The first half, they hang on there. I saw Kader Kohu. He was starting because Xavier was out. He did okay. There he slipped up a couple times too. He got beat a couple times. He got penalized. There was a penalty that got called on him.
Yeah.
So there's room for improvement there. But that kid's a rookie too. Right?
Yep.
And we're asking a lot of him to step in for a guy like Xavier Howard. And, there's other injuries on defense. The front seven, we saw Phillips was active. I saw Jalen. Jalen Phillips was active, right?
He played well.
And then what's his name?
Not great.
And then Wilkinson
Chris Wilkins. Chris Wilkins did not have his.
I just pulled the
I know.
dog. You got me, dog.
Got
After all these months of recording, you calling wrong people's names. Chris Wilkins.
But Chris Wilkins didn't play well either.
He did okay.
He did okay
in the beginning, first half.
I say he didn't play well, but even in the second half, because it was kind of a stalemate until the fourth quarter. But man, against this offense that the Jets have, which is not that dangerous. They really haven't shown to be an offensive juggernaut as we've faced before. So what the hell is all of this? And we're giving up so many yards. Another game that we give up over 300 yards. I said it on OnlyFans. We're the worst defensive team when it comes against the pass. Point to whatever injuries you want, but that means that we're not getting enough pressure, right, without having to blitz on passing plays. That's what it breaks down to me.
So let me ask you this, dog. Do we got to start pointing the finger or at least like looking in the direction of Josh Boyer, our defensive coordinator? Because there's one play in particular that I'm thinking about. It was like an early play. And I know this happens, this breakdowns and coverages and you know, players should be able to cover everybody, but there was a play that Jerome Baker was downfield covering a receiver where, frankly, I don't think Jerome Baker needs to be in that position in coverage.
Especially with as many returning players that we have on this defense, everything staying the same, the scheme being the same, all of these things, a lot of consistency on that defense for it not to be performing at the high level that it needs to be right now. Right now, it's only a middle-of-the-pack defense, and that's by the grace of the run defense that we have, right? Where teams are electing to throw more on us than try to run on us. But even when they do run at times, they're effective. We just gave up 97 yards to the Jets, to one of the Jets running back, right? They had over 135 yards on the day. So that means that everything else that they had as far as yards.
3 rushing touchdowns.
And as far as production, one of them came from
4.
From the quarterback.
Because Carter had 2.
Correct.
I want to say Brees Hall got 1 in the end.
Correct.
And Wilson had 1.
Wilson had 1. So back to it. If the run defense is the best thing about this defense, it didn't play well on Sunday. It didn't show because they had a great running game against us. Back-to-back weeks where we see teams have a good running game against us, meaning consistent game, or back-to-back games, I should say, where they have consistent run attempts against them. And now you combine that with the amount of injuries that we have in the backfield and the weaknesses that we have down there trying to defend. This defense is not playing well. It's not balling. And if you look at the wins were offensive because we made a big play to get a touchdown, to get ahead, and the defense did its job. Bend but don't break. Bend but don't break. But it's hard to not bend and break when you're down, right? You need the offense to put up points. If not, go out there and put up points your damn self. And that's the one big difference that we're seeing between this defense so far and last year. Go back and look at the amount of touchdowns we've been able to generate on this defense using the same schemes. The interceptions are down. The sacks are down.
Production is down, but
across the board,
you got to look at the correlation, and health is down, man, across the board. We're without Byron Jones. We're
that's
without
one
Xavier
big injury.
Howard. We're without Xavier Howard. Those are 2 big injuries.
Well,
right there for
X got hurt mid-game, so.
But he was to your point. That guy started the season already.
feel you.
He's already had issues with with his groin or whatever's going on,
and he's compensating.
And it just kind of gets worse. You know, so we need to for the Vikings going into the Vikings game. We need to clean up the penalties. Number one, on both sides of the ball,
11
offensive and
defensive. For 102
we got
yards,
some called in our favor. Some of those deep, the bombs that were like, where Tyreek or Waddle got caught up. Somebody was holding them or whatever, and we got those pass interferences. But on the other side, we also got penalties called on us for stupid stuff, bro. Like just the wrong formation. Or false starts, or on defense, face mask. I don't know how many face masks I saw that game, man. So we need to clean penalties up. Number 2, we got to clean up the defense. That's probably number 1, actually. Clean up the defense. We got to make sure we're tackling. We make sure we're not giving up those big runs. Man, you give up a big pass play occasionally, you're going to have Justin Jefferson out there. That's bound to happen. But, man, we got to shut down Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook cannot get hot and get the ball rolling, get that type of possession on their side. And then clean up the penalties. And then the third thing is we got to generate on offense. We have to generate on offense, whether it's Teddy, whether it's Tua, or if it's Skyler, whoever it is, we need offense from you. We need you to generate.
But look, you mentioned it. We're giving up pass plays for bombs, for touchdowns. And that's happening way too often, dog.
We didn't have that in the Jets game.
You know what I mean? But we had a 79-yard catch from Hall.
It was a catch and run. It was a breakdown. It was more of like a run, basically. But
where are the corners coming up to make the tackle? Where's the safety coming up to make a tackle? That's why my underwhelming performance of the game was Javon Holland. He did not play well for being the guy who's supposed to be in charge back there and put people in position and then lead by example.
It might have been too much for him.
Maybe
he might be, he might rely on his
Maybe.
one, or
Maybe.
he handles the main guy out there, and he's able to just kind of cover the rest of the field.
But you know what? That's not going to be enough to cut it in the NFL, and that's not going to be enough to cut it against the Vikings, because that Jefferson kid that's coming down here is not a joke. And talk shit about Kirk Cousins all you want. He's not afraid to throw interceptions because he knows he can come back and throw a touchdown.
Well, the good thing for them, it's not a primetime game, so
yeah, good thing for them. And
he chokes on those, but
you're not worried about Dalvin Cook coming down here and facing our defense?
Absolutely, I am. But that's why I'm saying, like, we need to be able to shut him down and contain him. And if we do that, then we still got to worry about the pass game, because they have arguably one of the best receivers in the game, if not the best,
right,
in Justin Jefferson. They also have Adam Thielen, who's a red zone, monster. They go to him in the red zone whenever they're whenever they're down there, and then they also have really athletic tight ends. They got that kid Likely, and they got Irv Smith Jr. They got really athletic tight ends, and from the the backfield perspective, they got Dalvin Cook and Alexander Madison. Yep. Great backup to him. He's a great. They basically look the same. I think Dalvin wears 4, right. He wears 2. They have dreads. Like, they look exactly alike, twins, bro. Like almost. Any other team that Madison's on, he's the starting running back.
Facts.
And so they just got a good win. They've always historically had a decent team, the Vikings, because they've had these pieces together for a while now, as far as Kirk and Dalvin go. So I don't know. I don't know what to expect. Obviously, I'm going to say the Dolphins win. Right, I'm not gonna go out here and say that on our show that the Dolphins.
So
are
you're saying Skyler's gonna come in and win this game?
No, I'm gonna say the Dolphins are gonna win this game.
Okay, so the defense is stepping up.
The Dolphins are gonna win this game. Probably going to be like a 27-24 kind of game.
I don't know if. Let me say this correctly. It's going to be tough to predict the Dolphins' victory. Minnesota's 4-1. They're 4-0 against the spread, right? This year, they're favored by this game right now at 3 points. They don't have major injuries except for one guy out, which is one of their cornerbacks, Andrew Booth Jr. For us, you look at our injury report.
Yeah, it's bad.
Tyreek Hill, questionable. Ahmed, out. Tua, out. Xavier Howard, out. Munson just got put on the practice squad or got cut. It's not looking good for this game. Man. We're going to need a lot of health quickly. And you know what? We do have a shot to win this game, but ultimately it's going to come down to mistake-free football. These last 2 games that we've lost a turnover battle, and we haven't been able to stop the other team from scoring big plays. If we can stop the big plays and maybe put a point or two on a touchdown or two on offense, then we're giving ourselves a shot. But the defense has to do 2 things. They have to get a turnover this game, no matter what. They need an interception, bad. They need a fumble, bad. And they need to keep the team under 21 points, bro. Give ourselves a shot. Because Skyler's not going to come in and throw 4 touchdowns like Tua, 6 touchdowns in the game.
No,
that's not going to happen. That's not.
I know Martin would probably love that. And speaking of Martin, our third mic on OnlyFans. You can check us out on OnlyFans after the Vikings game. We'll be recording that and posting it on YouTube like we do every week. So
yes, sir.